Hey everybody. I think we're live. Um so this topic is near and dear to my heart, and it's been coming up a bunch in my conversations with clients over the last couple weeks or so. So I thought I would bring it forward as a training so that you could have some shifts and you could have some more ease in your sales process. The other thing for me is that if you're watching this, more than likely you are a highly needed human, and the work you do is highly needed in this day and age. So I want to give you ways to not only shift your results, but also ways to bring yourself and the work you do out there in a more powerful way, in a more present way. So today I'm going to give you 3 shifts that you essentially need to cultivate and embody to skyrocket your sales, to get more yeses, to enroll clients that are truly ideal and in absolute resonance with you, and to create a sales process that is expansive, effortless, and joyful for both you and them. In many ways, selling is an energetic exchange. And the thing to remember is that people only ever buy from us when we have created an atmosphere that makes them feel confident and excited to work with us. So it's not really automatically about our offer, it's about the atmosphere, the space, the container that you're creating in the sales process. Selling is essentially creating a safe space for them to say yes, which is why I think sales and nervous system work is so fundamentally connected. So let me say that statement again, because it really is the essence of sales. Selling is creating a safe space for them to say yes. It's creating a safe space where they want to say yes. And saying yes feels easeful to them and feels like a no brainer to them because they feel that safe, that seen, that supported, and that anchored in expansion in your presence on that call. If you followed me for a while, you've probably heard me say that people don't buy what you're selling, they buy expansion. They buy the expansion that they sense in you, in the way you're holding yourself, in the way you're holding them, in the connection between the two of you. And they buy the expansion they sense is possible for them by working with you. So what sells is always expansion. And here's the trick. You can't sell expansion to your potential client if you're coming from contraction. If you're in the sales conversation anchored in doubt, anchored in need and scarcity, anchored in people pleasing energy and wanting to be liked, essentially, if you're anchored in contraction in any kind of way, then what you're actually going to be portraying is that contraction on a subtle level. Even if your sales process and the questions you have and all of that are brilliant, what's coming through is that energy of contraction and a sense of it. Essentially, the contraction from a nervous system perspective will create doubt in your potential client. So today, we're going to explore ways that you can bring yourself and your potential client into expansion during the sales call. I'm going to give you 3 powerful shifts and perspective for you to anchor before you get on a sales call, so that when you're showing up on that call, you're showing up on that call from absolute regulation and expansion. And then at the end of this training, I'm actually going to give you 2 or 3 questions that you can use to get in your client's mind and to help them feel safe, feel seen, feel like you get them, and to help them feel like supported enough that they're ready to expand. A lot of what we do in sales is actually helping our potential clients anchor themselves in the future that is possible and move them out of what's present today and what has been into what is possible for them when they work with us. So these questions I'm going to give you will also help you kind of create that expansion that helps your client anchor into the future they want rather than the reality they're experiencing in the current moment. So before I go deep in this content, I want to take a minute to introduce myself in case there's anybody who is seeing me for the first time. If you're new here, welcome. You're in good company. I'm Ilsa. I'm a total spiritual nerd. I'm a bookworm. I'm a dog mama. I'm a nature lover. I live in Boulder, Colorado, with my husband and 2 dogs. Professionally, over the last 20 years or so, I've worked as a psychotherapist, an expansion expert, and a strategist. I work mainly, not always, but mainly with business owners, leaders, and CEOs, helping them essentially rewire their nervous system, retrain their brains, expand their lives, their work, so that they can have more satisfying results, higher income, simple and steady growth that's sustainable, and they can actually become productive and create from a completely different place of being and presence. So that's me. And if you want to do deeper work in this than just a video training, then I want to invite you to book one of my 90 minutes one-on-one Wired for Wealth intensives. I offer anywhere between 2 to 4 a month at a 55% discount for new people. I have 2 left this month. So click the link in the description and let's do some work. Let's unlock your results, and let's revolutionize your leadership and your receivership. All right, that's my intro. Let's get going with this training. So here's the paradox. In sales, you're actually not trying to sell. You are creating a yes environment. You are creating an environment, a felt sense, a space, as I stated earlier, that will allow the person in front of you, or the people, if you're speaking to a stage, to move forward and to say yes with a sense of clarity and certainty. The fastest way to get out of that, the fastest way to create contraction for them, is to actually be trying to sell. So the better you get at this skill of creating a really safe space, a really connected space, where they want to say yes because they want more of that experience of being in your presence, the more yeses you will get. Which is why actually training our brain and our nervous system to stay in that place of expansion, in that place of being lean back, of feeling certain and confident during sales calls is important. And it's actually a lot more important than your strategy. It's a lot more important than the questions you use or the format you take your potential clients through. I, for example, have no format. I do that initial intensive, and literally there is no sales call. I work. I get on a call with people, they have paid me money, they tell me what's going on, and we get to work. And then at the end, I basically say to them, was this useful? Would you like to do more work? And if they say yes, I give them a couple different options based on their needs, based on their budgets, to continue working together. For me, all I focus on is creating this space of safety, of feeling supported, of feeling seen, of having such an expansive experience that they want more of it. Now, you don't have to do it the way I do it by literally just having a paid intensive and working with people. You can have your sales call process. But what I'm going to give you today is going to allow you to continue whatever process you're doing, but to bring a certain energy, a certain level of openness and groundedness and certainty into the sales call that will shift your client's nervous system as you're moving through your process. This is not common. This is what I believe. This is not common training in sales. But for me, the purpose of most of our marketing and sales conversations is to help our potential clients expand their own sense of possibility, expand their beliefs, expand their nervous system so that they can come into contact with the future that's actually possible for them with the right support. And so when you're really focusing on creating that expansion experience for your client, you are helping them embody into a paradigm of possibilities. And you are helping them shift out of whatever contraction or scarcity has kept them stuck thus far. And it's also the same kind of paradigm of contraction and scarcity that will show up during objection, where people are like, I don't know if it's going to work for me. I don't know if I can afford it. I need to think about it. I need to talk to my spouse. Like all the resistance, the fear that you see in sales is actually a lack of expansion. It's a lack of belief. It's a lack of feeling regulated and centered and in trust. And so that is what we're doing in sales. In sales, we're doing two things, maybe three. We are figuring out what is really going on with our clients so that we can figure out whether or not we can truly help them. The second thing we're doing is we are helping them regulate and start to come into a place of trust and support so that they can actually take in the support. And then the third thing we're doing through that regulation, through that trust, through that sense of safety that we've created, we're helping them come into starting to believe in the future that is possible for them. We're moving them out of the present that they are no longer wanting into the future that they desire. And when you have these three things, you know you can help them. They feel safe, they feel supported, and they're trusting you. And they're actually shifting out of focusing on the problem that brought them on the call itself and embodying the future that's possible for them. When you have these three things, you have a yes. And it's effortless. People will literally tell you, this is what I need. You are the answer. Yeah, that's a lot of money. I'm going to figure it out. You will not have to do any arm twisting, any working through objection. I honestly get very few objections. So the foundation of selling powerfully is expansion. And this is why so much of my work kind of revolves around helping clients rewire their own neurology so that they can anchor their identity in expansion instead of contraction, and so that they can show up in every area of their lives from that place. Because when your nervous system comes out of contraction and starts to anchor into regulation, liberation, and expansion, you are able to do three things that are fundamental to being able to sell powerfully. And this is kind of what I'm going to dive in deeper into this training. The first thing is you start to shift your self-identity so that you become more anchored in a sense of unwavering trust. Unwavering trust in yourself, unwavering trust in the work you do, unwavering trust that life has your back, unwavering trust that if a client showed up in your sphere, in your space, is because they're for you and you can help them. The second thing that happens is when you start to do this work, your capacity increases. And so you become able to be anchored in overflow, in abundance, in possibilities yourself. And you start to bring that overflow, that abundance, and that sense of possibilities into your sales conversation. And then the third thing that happens when you start to really do this work and anchor yourself into expansion is you become able to hold absolute conviction in the value of the work you do and in the lifetime transformation that is possible for your potential clients with your support. You stop doubting that you can help them. The number one sales killer is doubt, whether that doubt comes in from you or from your person. And if there's any inkling of doubt in you, you will be communicating that in an unconscious way to your potential client. And then they will feel doubt. They might not know why, but suddenly they will have resistance to working with you, even if the call went wonderfully. Oftentimes, that's the first question. If a client comes to one of our sessions together and is really frustrated or bummed out because they had this amazing call with someone, and at the last minute, the person kind of put in the brake and was showing up with a bunch of resistance and decided not to move forward, my first question is, did you have any doubt inside you that you would be able to support them? And oftentimes, not always, but oftentimes, either before the sales call or during the sales call, there was something in them that said, oh, what if I can help them? What if they don't get the results? I've never worked with someone, like something that was anchored in doubt. And it created literally like friction and an interference in the flow of the call, even if it felt really great. So without these three qualities in place, without that sense of trust, without being anchored in overflow, abundance, and possibilities, and without having that absolute sense of conviction in the value of your work and your ability to support them, without these three things, you cannot communicate the expansion that is needed for your potential client to feel safe, to feel supported, and to feel excited about the future, to move beyond the risk. Essentially, your client have to be safe enough and excited enough to move beyond whatever risk investing creates for them. And they have to be able to move beyond the fears and the doubts that may be present in them. And you, my friend, are the one through your own being, through your own presence, through your own self-identity, or which self-identity you're anchored in. You are the one who creates that space. So when we rewire our nervous system to be anchored into what's possible, we don't do it just for ourselves, but we do it for our potential clients and our clients. Because when you are anchored in the expanded state and you are grounded in what is possible, you start to mirror that to them. There's this thing called mirror neurons in our brains where literally, however we're showing up, the person across from us starts to catch it, starts to see it, and they start to mirror it. They start to perceive what's possible for them, and they start to anchor in expansion themselves, but they're doing that through you. They're doing that by mirroring you. co-regulation, they will call it in nervous system language. So the thing to know is that your nervous system is like a tuning fork. Have you ever seen that? Like if you got, for example, two guitars in a room and you start to play one, the other one, the string to the other guitar will also start to vibrate in conjunction with the first guitar. So that's what happens with tuning forks is we as human beings, through those mirror neurons, through our nervous system, start to attune to each other. We start to become in co-resonance with each other. So if you hang around someone who's constantly in contraction, you start to catch that. One of my old mentors used to say, if you walk in shit long enough, at some point you get some on you. That's the thing. Like if we're in contraction, our clients or potential clients start to mirror us and get in contraction. And that's true, by the way, for our kids, for our friends, for our partners. Like it's just true for life. Life will start to co-regulate to our sense of self and our sense of, or our level of contraction or expansion. But the opposite is also true. If you're in expansion, at some point in a conversation, they will start to match you. Expansion, just like contraction, is catching. So the beauty in that is that as a leader, as a way weaver, when you teach your nervous system to be expanded, you anchor yourself in that expansion, you anchor yourself in possibilities before you come into contact with a potential client, before you get on a live. Like before I started this live, I took a minute to do my own nervous system process and just to really come into a place of excitement and service and confidence and certainty so that I could show up from that level of peace and power for you. And over, I've had clients say to me, I don't know, can't even tell you what you said in this video, but it was something about your voice and your tonality and your presence. Like I could just feel myself relax and feel like confident and in trust as the video went on. That has nothing to do with content. That has everything to do with the context of the video. And that's the thing. Sales is creating the context for a yes. So when you are in expansion, your audience, your potential client will start to calibrate their nervous system to you. They will start to anchor in expansion. They will start by extension to sense what is possible for them. And they will start to want to work with you because they love the way they feel in your presence and they love who they become in your presence. And they know that who they are becoming in your presence is the version of them who will create the results they want. They know that they cannot create the results they want from their current level of contraction. And the moment they're in your presence, they start to embody a new reality. They start to connect to the future that's possible and to the version of themselves that gets to create that future. The number one reason people don't buy is they don't think that the transformation they desire is possible for them. And so when you're helping them really attune to that sense of possibilities and expansion, you're actually making the results they want feel possible for them. And that's when they're going to be willing to do whatever it takes to get there. So our main job in our marketing and in our sales is to help people to get into the sense of expansion and possibility, to start to embody what I call the paradigm of possibilities. It truly is a powerful gift to be able to see the brilliance, the wholeness, the potential in others before they can see it in themselves. And if you're watching this and you're a business owner, a practitioner, this is what sales is. It is you seeing their brilliance, seeing what's possible for them, seeing the potential in them before they can really see it in themselves. And you're there as a leader to hold that magnificence for them, for your people, until they're ready to claim it and to be able to hold it for themselves. And this is not just in the sales call. Like, as I work with clients over and over, I remind them who they are. I remind them what's possible. I invite them over and over to shift from a contracted identity to an expanded identity. I invite them over and over, and I remind them to actually start to create the results they want, not from the contracted presence that they're currently experiencing, but from the future they desire. And we all need someone who will hold what is possible for us until we're so anchored in it that we can hold it for ourselves. So that's what you do in sales and in the delivery of your process with your clients. You're giving the gift of infinite possibilities, and it's priceless. But you can't do that if you yourself are in this place, right? So that's the entire process here, is really being able to find our anchor in this, in the expansion, in the possibilities, so that we literally can hold it for our clients. So my invitation to you as you're watching this training is to see that your content, your marketing, as well as your sales process is here to move your clients from that place of contraction, from a place of being problem focused, left brain, to a place of expansion, of where they are solution focused, where they are thinking and seeing what's possible from what I call right brain genius. Your main job is to help them tap into the future they desire and to see it not only as possible, but as inevitable for them with the right support and process in place. And you are that support, and your work is that process. That's essentially what marketing and sales is in 1 2-minute description. If your marketing and your sales expand your client's mind, if it gives them a sense of expansion, if it explains to them in a tangible way why they haven't succeeded yet and how what you're doing is different, then you have their attention. Okay. So now that I've introduced the importance, because by the way, this was the introduction. You know me, I like to talk. So now that I've introduced the importance of expansion in sales and in marketing, I want to go over these 3 paradigm shifts in more details so that you know exactly what to work on to be able to create that in your potential client. Because 80% of what it takes to grow and scale a business is communicating and articulating that sense of expansion and possibilities, period. So the first thing I mentioned in there was developing unwavering trust and anchoring your identity there. So let's start that. This is paradigm 1. We have to create the kind of trust that actually shifts your identity and creates such a level of confidence that you can show up in a sales call and you can, just in how you're showing up, regardless of what you're doing in there, you can literally start to give that trust and that confidence to your potential client. And the most powerful shift I have for you is this. For you to feel really confident in your sales call, you have to trust that if someone reached out to you, if someone then went through the process of getting on a call with you and they showed up, it's because you have what they need. It's because what you're doing is something they know they want. And essentially trusting that if they're there in front of you, or even you could take that to a wider part of your marketing, if they're seeing your marketing, is because you are meant to work with them at some point in some way. So what this trust will do is it starts to remove what's the word I'm looking for? It's not doubt, but it starts to remove a lack of certainty in you that this is going to go well or that this person is for you. No. If they reached out to me, if they saw my piece of content, if they reached out to me, if they got on a call, they're mine. I have something they need. I have something they want. I can help them in some way. And I am meant to work with them at some point and in some way. How do I know? Because they're here. If they weren't for me, they would not be in my experience. And I would not be in their experience. So this trust that essentially they're yours will give you the confidence you need to show up both in service to them and also in authority to them, and to start to take your seat. Like, I want you to imagine like a tree, a mountain. You're taking your seat as someone who is here to support them and has what they need. This trust will help you feel rooted so that you can rise. We root so we can rise, and so that you can rise to the occasion, so that you can rise and show up as a leader, so that you can rise and trust what's coming out of you that you feel they need to hear. So you're no longer, with this kind of trust, with this kind of confidence, you're not tiptoeing. You're not trying to convince. The convincing is done. They showed up. You don't need to convince or prove yourself in any kind of way. By the way, this was one of the reasons that I shifted from free discovery calls to paid initial intensives, because I wanted to show up as if the individual was already a client. And I was having a hard time doing that if they had not paid me. Like, it's almost like for me, now this is my shit, right? It's not automatically yours. But it was almost for me, like the moment they gave me money, they gave me consent to show up in that place of empowerment. And I could start to just be their mentor and to start getting to work and to have absolutely no fear, no doubt, no people-pleasing energy, no tiptoeing. I could just be me and be in service of them. But you don't need to charge for that. The fact that somebody books a call and gets on the call is their consent to you that you are their person and that they want your support. That's the power of a great initial call. When you show up as if this person is your client, regardless of whether they've paid you or not. And it's already a done deal. They're your client. And you're here to support them and to transform them and to help them create the life that you know is possible for them. You can't do that without trust. And when you trust yourself and you trust the flow of life, that they're here for a reason, that trust, remember, that co-regulation, that resonance, that mirror neuron thing, that trust will start to be mirrored in them. Just like you trust that they're there because they're yours, they will start to trust that they're there because you're theirs. And then it's like literally the sales process is a done deal. You've already, both of you, decided on some totally unconscious level that you're going to work together. So that trust is expansion. It's what allows you to show up in expansion. It's what allows you to be anchored in your genius and to fully attune to them and what they need. It's what allows you to really create a transformative, safe space for them and to help them have the insight and the expansive experience they need that will make them want to continue to work with you. So remember what right at the beginning of this training, I said, sales is not trying to sell. It's creating an environment for yes. So what we're doing here with that level of trust is we're creating such a safe space, such a nourishing experience, such a sense of clarity and certainty that they feel enlivened and supported to such a degree that they want to say yes. And when they want to say yes, they will figure out how to say yes to you. So that's the power of this first paradigm shift of really trusting that if they're here, they're yours. And then that trust starts to shift into them and they start to feel that if they're here, you're theirs. And then the sales process is a flow, an effortless flow. They feel like they're in good hands and they feel like this is synchronicity. This is the universe guiding them to be in a conversation with you. So paradigm number 2 is creating that sense of capacity and cultivating in yourself a sense of abundance and overflow so that you can embody that overflow, that spaciousness. The lesson here is you can't create abundance from scarcity. You can't create expansion from contraction. You can only create abundance through abundance. So on a call, you have to know deep in your soul, deep in your gut, that you are already successful. And so here we're talking about a slightly different energy. The first energy in paradigm 1 was the energy of trust, that they're there for a reason, that they're yours, that you can help them. This is a different kind of shift in your nervous system. It's going to allow you to lean back and not have that sense of urgency and need that they're going to buy and become a client now. There's nothing that is going to push people away most and create resistance, create friction in the process, in the flow, than if they start to sense your need and your urgency to get them to say yes now. So you have to embody a sense that you're already successful and that this client saying yes or no in the grand scheme of things makes no real difference to you and your success in the long run. Essentially, 6 months from now, maybe even a month from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, 10 years from now, their yes or no is like a drop of water in the ocean. It is inconsequential. When I work with clients around nervous system work, there are 2 things that we tend to do. One is to recalibrate the nervous system for more, so that more feels easeful, so that more feels not overwhelming, so that there's no resistance to more. The other side of that coin is to actually make everything that feels in the way inconsequential, so that literally the nervous system and the brain start to filter it out of your experience. It's no big deal. It's not important. It's not even worth making it into something. And so I did a training, this was a while back maybe 2 months, 3 months ago, about how I broke through my own visibility block. And one of the things I share in there is that I made a decision in here that literally the amount of people who saw my content was inconsequential. It didn't matter because I knew that the right person was seeing my content. Even if only one person saw my content, that is all that mattered because the right person saw my content. And when I made my reach, my engagement, and all the shit I was creating internally into not important, inconsequential, literally everything unlocked. So when you can really embody in the sense that I'm already successful, my success is a done deal. And this particular person saying yes or no right in this moment makes no difference to me. You will actually start to open and relax. And you will start to show up in your marketing, in your sales process from this really open, lean back place. And like when we are like this, the person across from us does that. They want that level of relaxation. They want that level of calm certainty. And so they will lean in. When you lean back, your people lean in. So this sense of like, yeah, whether they say yes or no is a drop of water in the ocean. It doesn't matter. This will allow you to release any kind of grasping that you have on the outcome. And it will allow you to anchor in overflow. It will allow you to start detaching yourself and to show up from this place of relaxation while staying rooted in the trust that we just spoke about. Yeah, I know I'm theirs. Hopefully they're ready to buy today, and that would be amazing. And if they're not, makes no difference. They'll say yes at some point. Our path will cross at some point. You start to want them to say yes now, not for you. Makes no difference for you. You start to want them to say yes now for them because you know that if they reach back out a year later, they wasted a year where you could have been helping them shift whatever's going on. So in doing that from that place of relaxation, from that place of leaning back, from that place of detachment, you start to remove any sense of pressure that is on you. Pressure is, along with doubt, we talked about, is a major nervous system contraction, like quality. It has, like, it just contracts us. And you start to remove that sense of need in you. Need and pressure, if you have it in you in any way, you will again mirror it and pass it on to your potential client, and they will feel this sense of pressure and this sense of neediness that will contract them and it will repel them. So I'm looking at my notes. I feel like I said that. Just we're back to trust, trusting that if it's not a yes today, it's a yes at some point. Either way, it's all good. This is an interesting thing. You have to let go of you needing the money and focus on how they actually need the support more than you actually need the money. You have to release the sale and realize that actually it's about them, it's not about you. They need the support more than you need the sale. And so this, again, will help you shed any kind of contracted energy that could create friction or resistance in the flow. It will also allow you to show up again from this place of authority and service because you are really there to serve them. And you can see how much they need you, and they need you more than you need them. You are their person. But the truth is, there are a lot of people who are your people. And so when you release that neediness, you start to move from that detachment, you really create a sense of spaciousness, a sense of abundance for you and for them. And again, that sense of spaciousness, of safety, of abundance will help them relax and will help them start to anchor their nervous system in expansion and possibility, because there's nothing pushing them. They literally just get to lean back themselves and to really sense, what is it they want? People buy when their nervous system is both regulated and expanded at the same time. So first, you're working on that first paradigm of trusting that they're here because they need you, and you have what they need, and you show up from that energy, from that authority, from that sense of certainty. Then you add that second paradigm, which is they need you more than you need them, and if it's not now, they will become your client at some point. In the end, whether they say yes today or not is not a big deal. And you start to really relax and open in the sales process and be anchored in that sense of overflow. And then you start to move into paradigm 3. So when you've done these two shifts and you're really starting to anchor in expansion and show up from that energy, trust, lean back and relaxed, then you can start to work on the third paradigm shift, which was the cultivation and the embodying of conviction, the conviction of the value of your work. So here's the thing I will say. By the time you worked on these first two paradigm shifts, you have done a lot of work already on anchoring conviction. It's already shining through in your authority, in your relaxation, in your sense of expansion and possibility, in your sense of certainty that if it's not now, it's at a different time, that they're your client no matter what. Like all of that starts to really anchor a sense of conviction that you can support them. That being said, and this is a more strategic paradigm shift, it's really hard to sell an offer if you're not sold on it yourself. So you want to be able to ignite absolute love, absolute passion, and certainty and excitement for the work you do, for the transformational value of your offer, and for how you deliver it. So, like, some of the questions you could ask yourself, and you can come back if you want and journal on these, but like, what is it that you love about your work? Like, what is it that you love about how you share the transformation through your work, through your offers? Why do others love it? Why have past clients loved it? Why would you love it if you were your own client? What becomes possible in all the different realms of life for people when they buy your offer and they do the work? So if you don't love your offer for them, and you don't really truly believe that this is life-changing stuff, that it will impact the rest of their lives, then you're going to have a hard time selling it. Because literally, your nervous system will contract. Now, here's the flip side of that, which is not always talked about. You have to love your offer for yourself as well. What that means is delivering it has to feel really good to you. Like, you have to make sure that everything in your offer including your price point, feels really good to you. If there's any piece or part of your offer that feels out of integrity, that feels heavy, that feels not enough, you will, again, your nervous system will contract and you will struggle selling it. You will create some unconscious friction and resistance both in yourself and in your potential client, because they will feel your own resistance and they will contract in response to that resistance and start to resist as well. They won't really know what's happening. They won't know why suddenly they're not sure this is the right offer for you, but there will be something in the way you present the offer that creates some kind of doubt. So when I talk about loving your offer, it includes the structure and the delivery. It includes the copy and the sales page, the language you're using in them. It includes the results you are promising. Like, there is a lot of push in especially the online industry of creating big, bold results that that truth is we have no fucking business promising because we can't guarantee them. Like, I cannot guarantee that if my clients work with me and learn to rewire their nervous system and anchor their identity and expansion and train their brain and blah, 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 they're going to be making, 100K months. I cannot guarantee that. What I can guarantee is that if clients work with me and they rewire their brain and their nervous system, they will tap into a genius that they don't currently have. They will increase their capacity to be seen, to receive, to hold, and they will make more money. It will impact their leadership as well as their receivership. That I can promise, but I can't promise 10K months, 100K months, 10xing your income particularly. Like, although I've had clients do that, I can't guarantee it or promise it because every single person who works with us is different. And it's not just about what we do in our offer, it's about how they show up in it. It's about what they're ready to create for themselves. So your copy, your sales page, your promise, the price you're asking, all of it has to feel really good and has to feel right and in integrity to you in all ways, or you will not be able to sell it. We're back to this concept of pressure. The reason I say this is because if there's anything in your offer that feels heavy, or that feels like you're putting pressure on yourself to prove something or to deliver something that feels hard or feels like it's out of your control, it will create a sort of doubt in you, and it will create that sense of pressure that now you got to hustle for it, and your nervous system will literally resist it. No one wants to work that way. No one wants to create success with like impending doom of what if they don't get results? What if they're not satisfied? We want to be throughout the entire process of our business in that place of being lean back, being certain, being relaxed. So I'm going to give you a personal example from my own business. So I started out offering nothing but one-on-one sessions, and I got completely overwhelmed and fully booked, and I was just like burned out. And my income was very capped because I'm also somebody for whom accessibility, financial accessibility, is one of my values as somebody who's been in the mental health world and in the process of serving people. I want my programs to be accessible. So I was totally burned out. I was capped. And so I did like one of those pendulum, like total opposite overreaction. And I basically shut down my private one-on-one work, except for a couple clients. And I started doing nothing but offering a group program. And I actually had an initial launch, and I was able to bring in like 12, 15 people, 10, 15 people, something like that, in that initial launch. And then I realized I didn't really like it. It was a lot of work. I'm an over deliverer. So I was prepping for each of these weekly calls, like creating a full training or a retreat experience. I felt disconnected from the people in there because even though they were showing up, and I had like one of those crazy, like literally 90% to 95% of my people were showing up every single week. So I've got to interact with them, but it wasn't the same thing as one-on-one. I still felt like I didn't quite fully get them. Couldn't quite fully connect with them. And so past that in the initial launch, because of that disconnection, because of the heaviness of prepping, I was never able to sell another spot in there. And at that point, and I tried. This isn't like I decided, oh, this isn't for me, I'm not bringing anybody else. No, I had these 12 people. This was a recurring program. So it was all to my benefit to bring in more people in there. I think I might have sold one other spot in like 8 months or something like that. Like literally, I was in absolute resistance to continuing it. And so at some point, I decided to change the structure. And it went from weekly groups to 3 groups a month. I started to create less content and to actually focus on guiding clients through practices during these sessions and opening the space for masterminding and Q&A so that I wasn't spending quite as much time creating content. And I started bringing back in one-on-one work, and everybody started getting some kind of one-on-one support with me, either one 75-minute session a month or 2 75-minute session a month. And so basically, I created the current program that I have, where I have content that I send kind of weekly to clients to see on their own. We practice together during the groups. There's Q&A time. And then everybody gets one-on-one time with me to dive deep and to really tweak things to their specific circumstance and their specific wounds and their specific goals and all of that. But as long as the program didn't feel good to me, I could no longer sell it. So if you have any kind of ambivalence about your offer, if you can't say with absolute confidence and certainty that you love every single piece of it, then figure it out. Figure out what is out of alignment, what needs to be tweaked, what needs to be changed, what needs to be removed, what needs to be added, so that you can feel really excited and you can like have absolute conviction in inviting somebody to join you. So that when you say the price, it feels right and it feels good and it feels like really fair compensation for the value that you're creating for them. Here's the truth. The difference between you and the person who is making multiple 6 or 7 figures is not that they have more to offer, that their offer is better, that they have more skills, that they are more qualified than you in some way. Actually, oftentimes they're not. Their offer isn't better than yours, and they're not more qualified than you. The difference between them and you is conviction. They believe in what they are selling. They love the way they're selling it or delivering it. And that love, that belief, that conviction is what gives them the courage and the audacity to actually market and sell it from this place of expansion. When you think of anybody that you have bought from them probably because you could sense their own conviction. Whether it was rightfully placed or not is a different story. I think there's a lot of people who truly believe in their offers who'd be better suited to rethink them. But That's a different conversation for a different time. But like when you have bought the level of expansion and conviction that you could sense in them. And that's what you're creating. So when you have conviction in your offer, it allows you to show up from this place of infinite possibilities, from this place of spaciousness, from this place of certainty, of trust, of calm. It allows you to be excited about what is possible for your client and feel excited about wanting to work with them. Like if you can, this is something I had for a long time. Like if somebody gets on a call with you, and you almost have like a little bit of apprehension that they're going to say yes, like it feels heavy. What if they say yes? Oh, can I handle it? Am I going to feel overwhelmed? That lets me know, one, obviously we need to work on your nervous system capacity, right? But that lets me know that there might be something in your offer or in your delivery that doesn't feel quite aligned. So when you have that sense of conviction and trust, you can move beyond any contraction, any doubt that you might have. And you can help them move through any contraction or any doubt that they might have and help them anchor into that sense of possibilities because you are embodying that yourself. So when you come to your potential client from that place of trust, from paradigm 1, trust that if they're here, they're meant to work with you. Trust that they're already your clients. They are for you and you are for them. Then you are in expansion and you're able to communicate that expansion. When you come to them from that place of easeful abundance, from that place of overflow, from that place of knowing that no matter what, it's all working for you. Whether they buy or not, it's all working itself out for you financially. If the sale doesn't come from them, it'll come from someone else. There's no rush, there's no pressure. You are lean back, you are relaxed, you are open. You are even more anchored in trust. You are communicating that to them. And then when you come from that place of deep conviction in your work, in the transformation, in the delivery, in the price of your offer, then your nervous system is so fully regulated, so fully expanded, so anchored in capacity that both you and them feel safe moving forward. Here's the thing, sales is not just about them feeling safe and supported moving forward. It's about you feeling safe and supported moving forward. So from that sense of safety, of support, of possibility, both of you will be excited about working together. And then all the friction, all the weirdness, all the resistance, all the yuck factor, and the doubt that can show up in sales will be removed. It will be dissolved. And you will make the sales process enjoyable and effortless for both you and them. That's when your clients sell themselves. You don't even have to push for the sale. It's just that easy yes. They're already sold. So as stated, an amazing marketing campaign and sales process and a compelling offer always comes out of you being anchored in expansion, in safety, in trust, in what's possible for your client or your potential client if they choose to work with you. So I told you I would offer you a couple questions to help you start to get in the mind of your client and start to create content and marketing that leads people to want to say yes. You're going to be able to bring the answer to these questions into your sales calls so that you can transform your client's paradigm from that sense of contraction and doubt to a sense of expansion and possibilities. All right, first question. What's in the way of my people's transformation? Why have they not gotten results in the past? You want to ask yourself that. What's in the way of my people's transformation? Why have they not gotten results in the past? Essentially, another way of looking at this is what's been missing in your industry that you do differently. So, what's missing in my industry that I actually do differently to help them get results? So, what's in your way of your people's transformation? Why have they not been successful in the past? What have they not gotten results in the past? And what is it that you do that's different from your industry? That's the first step. It's going to really allow you to start. It's a big part of the golden thread that I teach my clients. Like, it will help you start to be a fresh new voice and to start to focus your marketing on making yourself different, making yourself a thought leader rather than somebody that's just like everybody else. Second question you want to play around with is what's actually possible for my people? What is it that they need to hear to believe it? What's possible for them? And what is it that they need to hear to believe it? Essentially, like, what is it they need to hear from you to believe that with the right support or the right process, what they want is possible for them? So, the first part of this question is what's actually possible for your people when they have the right support? And then the second part is what do you need to say to them? What is it they need to hear and believe so that they see that it's possible for them with the right support? The third question you can ask yourself that will help you kind of create really potent content and create this expansion experience in a sales process is what belief, thought, or action activity do your people need to let go of and break free of to truly anchor into possibility and create the transformation they want? What are the beliefs, the thoughts, the activities that are essentially keeping them stuck, that are keeping them from seeing what's possible for them? So, what beliefs do you need to shift? What thoughts do you need to shift for them? What action do they need to stop taking and let go of so that they can break free and they can start to truly believe that transformation is possible for them? So, if you start to arrange your content around these three questions, you will start to move people into wanting to have a conversation with you. You will start to move people into feeling the expansion and the possibilities that is there for them. Because when your person taps into the expanded state and starts to see what's truly possible for them and to believe it, and they get on a call with you from that perspective, and then you show up with these three paradigms, you show up from that place of trust, from that place of being lean back and relaxed and in certainty, and from that place of conviction, there's not even a need for a sales process. They're showing up to you 90% ready to buy, and your presence does the last 10%. Okay, I think that's it. That's what I have for you today. I hope this was helpful. And if you got some insights in here, if you thought this was helpful, please share it. If you're on Facebook, tag friends that you know have been, like want more sales or need like the other side of sales. That's not just a strategy of sales, but also the identity of sales, the neurology of sales. If you're on YouTube, send the link to this training to whoever you think would benefit from this. I really want to share the value of retraining our brain and expanding our nervous system capacity with as many people as possible. And you, my friend, are part of helping me do that. So I would be deeply grateful for that. Okay, that's what I have for you. Let me do a last CTA or call to action. If you are ready to shift out of contraction and you're curious about diving into basically like a journey of quantum expansion in partnership with your nervous system, in partnership with your brain, in partnership with your vitality and your energy, then I would love to work together and make some magic happen. In my work, I mix neurology, identity, and strategy to shift your current set points to create a completely new experience within you, within your life, even within your relationship, your leadership, and of course, within your business and your income. This work of rewiring yourself, unlocking yourself, allows you to tame the chaos and become still and spacious in any storm, whether that storm is internal or external in the world. It allows you to break through invisible barriers that have been keeping you small, invisible, and keeping your income kind of capped. It allows you to start to effortlessly take aligned action, and to remove any resistance, any sabotage, any overwhelm that's been showing up in your business so that you can create steady growth and consistent results. And of course, it allows you to create higher revenue from this place of increased capacity, trust, and calm and confidence. Calm confidence. It's like a weird thing. I don't have a word for it. It's like you feel really calm, but you feel really sovereign at the same time. It's like this calm confidence. So this is what I want for you. This is my wish, not for everyone. I want that for my clients. I want that for my friends. I want that for the fucking world because we need it. It's not just in sales, just in every growth process we move towards. Like, this is the thing about humans. I speak to business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, practitioners. That's my main, but it doesn't matter who you are. If you have dreams, if you have a desire to grow, this work allows you to grow from that place of capacity, from that place of trust, from that place of calm confidence. It allows you to eradicate resistance, eradicate procrastination, eradicate sabotage. Anyways, that's what I got. So if this calls to you and you want to experience this work for yourself, usually, especially if you're new to me, I get started with a 90-minute one-on-one Wired for Wealth intensive, and I offer those for new clients at 55% off. During this intensive, we kind of explore where you're at. We figure out exactly what are those unique invisible barriers, those unique wounds and contractions in your nervous system that have been holding you back and that have been keeping your results potentially too small, that have been making things hard. And then I teach you my proprietary process so that you know exactly how to take yourself out of the sense of contraction into a place of liberation, and then anchoring yourself and your identity into expansion so that, yeah, and you can do that in every area of your life and business. And then if we want to do more work together, I will give you a couple different options based on your needs, based on how you work best with people, like whether you really love more group support or you really love the one-on-one support, and based on your budget as well. Because like I said, accessibility is one of my values. So in this work together, we will unlock the power of your nervous system and your brain to create peaceful growth, consistent, reliable, steady results, and deeply supportive money. Because for me, foundation of expansion is always safety, support, sustainability, maybe even simplicity. That's me. I like things simple. So if you're ready to get started, click the link in the description of this video. If you've already done one of those with me and you want to do more work, message me, email me, DM me. I'll put in the description of this video, I'll go back and put my link to just do an enrollment conversation. This is a free 30-minute call where we decide which of my packages is best for you. And here's the last thing I'm going to give you before I let you go. I want to invite you to always remember that you have everything you need to succeed inside you. You are the most powerful and peaceful force in your life. And your nervous system is the conductor. It is the gateway to healing your past, as well as to reclaiming and embodying your potential and healing anything that's in the way of the future you desire. I would absolutely feel honored and love to be your guide on this journey to your next level and to your expansion. All right, that's what I got. This was a long one. I hope it was useful. Sending you love.